Okay, is the screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the previous lecture we have discussed about the controlling process, planning and basic criteria, like how to just what are the steps of plannings. Okay, now in today's lecture we will discuss about the types of organization. So basically, organizations are divided into number of types. The organization involves identification and grouping of activities to be performed and dividing them among the individual and creating authority and responsibility relationship among them for accomplishment of the organizational objective. Okay, so what you are going to do here, once you have done the planning, after that we need to do the organize. We need to do the organize means allocation of the resources and all these things. So here what you are going to do, we are going to identify the activities and we are going to group the activities into certain based on certain criteria. Okay, so organization involves identification and grouping of activities. Okay, once your planning is done, then next task is what you need to allocate the resources, and for that purpose you need to identify what are the activities which are to be performed, and you need to group those activities to be performed, dividing among the individual. Okay, and that the activity should be divided among the individual, or sometimes it may be a group of individual, creating authority and responsibility relationship among them for the accomplishment of the organizational objective. So why we need to just divide this activity? Because once you are going to divide the activities among the individuals or the group of individuals, then that will create the authority as well as responsibility. That person is responsible or that group is responsible for that, and he has certain authority to take the decisions over there. Okay, and because of this, what happened finally, I am able to achieve my organizational objective. Organization being a process. Organizing is what? It is a process consisting of departmentalization, linking of departments, defining authorities and responsibilities, and prescribing authorities in the relationship. Okay, so in organizing, what you are organizing is what? Simply it is a process. Okay, and which consists of departmentalization. This process will make it certain department, just like purchase department, production department, marketing department, finance department. Okay, linking of departments, and then it will make an connection, interlinking between the departments. It will form certain coordination between the department, so that the authority and responsibility is going to be described over there, as well as it is prescribed the authority and relationship also. The organization structure is a result of this process, and whatever the organization structure we are going to observe, that is the result of this process. Okay, in which we are going to create the departments, and then we are going to interlink those departments. Say my purchase department is related to the production department, my purchase department is related to the finance department, the production department in the sense that how much quantity of the material I want to manufacture. Based on that, I will just ask the purchase department to procure the raw material for that. Then the purchase department coordinate with the finance department whether it is possible for me to allocate this much financial budget. Then that is also related to the marketing department, that this is the final product and we need to just market this product. So all the departments are interlinked together. Then organization structure. An organization structure shows authority and responsibility between the various position of organization by showing who reports to whom. Okay, so this is very important over here. In organization structure, it will show simply authority and responsibility. Okay, and it will show that who is going to report to whom. That a middle level manager is supposed to report to the top level management, or the worker is supposed to report the supervisor, the supervisor is supposed to reports the manager. Then in their different departments, the production manager should report to the production, say production supervisor should report to the production manager, like that. Okay, it is a set of planned relationship in which what you are going to do, it is a set of planned relationship between groups of related function. Okay, so basically in organization structure, it is basically a group of the planned relationship. The relationships are already planned, that who is going to report to whom. Okay, and uh, then between the physical factors and personal requirements for the achievement of the organizational goals. Then a good organization structure should not be static but dynamic. So this is very important over here because we are operating in such an environment which is continuously changing. And if I'm going to make my organization structure as a static one, then that cannot sustain in the long term. So basically your organization structure should be dynamic. So as per the changes in the surrounding as well as market, my organization also adopt to those changes. Make it is possible for me to make certain changes over there. It should subject to change from time to time. Okay, so it should be subjected to change for time to time in the light of changes in the business environment. Just we have discussed previously also that my surrounding is a dynamic environment which is continuously changing one. Okay, so with reference to the changes which are occurring in the surrounding or the business environment, that changes may be legal changes, that may be socio-economical changes, that may be political changes. Okay, so based on those changes, and my business should be adopt to just my business must adopt to such changes. Okay, so I can just mold my business as per the changes in the scenario, market scenario. Then principle of organizing. In order to facilitate the achievement of objective, management thinker have laid down certain principle of organizing. Okay, so there are different management thinkers where in the first lecture we have discussed the definitions of management, and there are number of persons we have just laid certain definition of management. So those management thinkers has divide or laid down the principle of organizing. These principles are guidelines. What are these principles? These principles are guidelines for planning, organizing, structure. Okay, so this principle work as a guideline for planning and organizing the. Therefore, through understanding of the principles of the organization, it is essential for the good organization. The common principles are discussed below. Some of the common principles which are applicable to all the organizations are objectives. Okay, the objectives of the enterprise influence the organization structure. Okay, the objective of the whatever the objective of the organization, that should influence the organization structure. It must influence the organization structure. Every part of organization and organization as a whole should be geared to the basis objective determined by the enterprise. Okay, so every part of the organization and organization as a whole should be geared to the basic objective determined by the enterprise. Okay, so everyone should work in such a manner that they will try to achieve the objective of the enterprise or organization. Okay, then specialization. Second thing is a specialization. Effective organization must promote specialization. Okay, if my organization is want to be effective, then it must promote the specialization. Specialization means what? A person should be master in that particular area. Okay, or the organization should be master in that particular area. The activities of the enterprise should be divided according to the function, and for the specialization what I have to do, I have to divide the activities. Okay, I want to divide or I need to divide the activities based on the functions and assign to the person according to the specialization. If someone is interested in R&D, then that person must be given the work that is related to the R&D. Someone have very good communication skill, then that person must be a marketing person, and the or the say he must be a marketing person or a purchase one. If someone is very fond of technology, then he must be given the jobs related to the technology. Okay, so special you need to find out the skill set of the worker, and then based on the skill set of the particular manager worker, you need to assign the work to them. So definitely when you are going to assign the work in that manner, the chances of your organization success are very increasing. Okay, or they will be more. Then span of control, the number of subordinates that an executive or manager can supervise directly is called as the span of control. Okay, so basically in the span of control, how many numbers of workers or manager you can supervise directly. Okay, say if you under your say control there are 10 person. Okay, so that 10 person is your span of control over there. That 10 person should be supervised by you. Okay, and you are responsible for whatever the output which are given by them. A manager can directly supervise only limited number of workers. Okay, hence it is necessary to have proper number of subordinates answerable to the manager. Basically what happened, it is not possible for a single person to just control 100 workers or 200 workers or thousands of workers. So what you need to, we need to delegate the authority, we need to appoint the supervisors, subordinates, okay, and those are answerable. Hence it is necessary to have a proper number of subordinate answerable to the manager. The maximum, a maximum 6, maximum of 6 is normally accepted for this purpose. So basically what happen, when you are the maximum number of 6 persons who are under your control, then you can easily take the follow up of this. But if the number go on increasing, then it is quite difficult for you to just control the activities of each and everyone and control the work. Okay, so span of control may wide or narrow depending on many factors. So that also depends on the type of organization, nature of organization, whether it is in the manufacturing segment, whether it is the service segment, okay, or it is a defense organization. Based on that, the span of control may vary. Sometimes it may be more, sometimes it may be less over there. Okay, then next is the exception. This principle requires the organization structure should be so designed that managers are required to go through the exceptional matter only. Okay, so managers are not supposed to do each and every day-to-day activities. Okay, or whatever the day-to-day activities, planning, and all this going to be carried out. It is not a task of manager. Okay, all these routine activities should be taken care by the subordinates. Subordinates are there under the manager's control, so it is the task of them that they have to carry out all the routine decisions. Because if manager is going to be involved in making all the routine decision, routine planning, then it is not possible for him to achieve the organizational goal within the prescribed time period. Okay, so whereas where the problem involved, so when my supervisors or my subordinates are going to be control all the days, all the routine activities or decisions, and if they are facing certain problem, they are not getting it clear. So at that time, the manager may involve. Whereas the problem involving unusual matter, policy decision should be referred to the higher levels only. Okay. Otherwise, all the day-to-day activities could be given by the subordinates. Then scalar principle. This is also known as the chain of command. Okay, scalar principle is also known as the chain of command. There must be clear lines of the authority running from top to bottom. Basically, what happens if your chain of command is proper? Basically, what happens? The information may percolate from top management to the bottom management. Okay, in the same manner, whatever the decisions are going to be taken by the top management, that should be percolated from top management to the middle management to the low management to the supervisor and to the worker. So this is called as the chain of command. And if you want to just do certain complaints or something, that should go from bottom to top. Okay, you are not supposed, a worker should not directly come in contact with the CEO of the organizations. Okay, because he is going to break that chain of command over here. So in most of the organization, you need to maintain the chain of commands. Authority is the right to decide. What is meant by authority over there? So authority is nothing but the right. It is the right to decide, direct and coordinate. Okay, authority is the right. Authority क्या है तुम्हारा? Authority is the right which is given to you to decide, to direct and to coordinate. Okay, so when the authority comes to you, definitely the responsibility comes on your shoulder also. Okay, so authority and responsibilities goes in hand. Every subordinate must know who is the superior. Okay, so everyone who is under the working in the organization must know who is superior, who is his superior, and to whom policy matter beyond his authority must be referred for decision. Okay, so when you are working in the organizations, when you join the organization, you must know who is your immediate boss. You need to report to him only and you need to follow his commands only. Okay, because if only one person is there who is going to give you the commands, then whatever your work is going to be gone smoothly. But if number of persons are giving you the command, then it is quite difficult for you. You're going to be frustrated over there. So authority as well as chain of command is very important in the success of the organization. There should be unity of command only. Okay, so that comes under the next one. Under after scalar principle, the next thing is the unity of command. Each subordinate should have only one supervisor whose command he has to obey. Okay, only one supervisor. That worker should get the instruction from only one supervisor. If there are two supervisor, 10 supervisor, the worker got confused. He is not able to decide what to do and what is not to do. Okay, so it is always better to have a unity of command. Only one person should be should have the authority to give the command to the respective group of people who are in his control. Okay, dual subordination must be avoided. This is very important. Dual subordination must be avoided for it causes. Now, if there is a dual subordination, it causes uneasiness, disorder, indiscipline, and undermine of the authority. Okay, so if I have to work out task, okay, and as an individual person, I can perform only one task at a time. As an individual person, I can perform only one task at that time. I have two or three say supervisor. One supervisor is telling me that you have to do this one, second supervisor is going to tell me you have to do this one, and third one is going to tell me we have to do this one. Is it possible for an individual person to perform all the three tasks at the same time? It is quite difficult. It is impossible to perform all the three tasks at the same time. So what you have to do, you must in if you want to just you if you want to just maintain your organization at the good level, so there must be unity of command. Okay, the worker must have only one supervisor, and he has to follow the orders of that supervisor only. If the number of supervisor go on increasing, that will causes the uneasiness, disorder, indiscipline, because definitely a single person is not able to perform multiple say a single person is not able to perform the multiple tasks at the same time. So he is not able to perform all the tasks. Okay, and that will result into the indiscipline. Okay, so if someone tell me that you have to take, say I am going to take one example over here. If HOD tells me that you have to take the third year lecture, someone tell me principal tell me you have to take the second year lecture also, and one more person tell me you have to do it, and at the same time, is it possible for me? No. Okay, or in case of your home, your parent tells you, your mother tells you you have to do that, your father tells you you have to do that. Okay, and are expecting that you have to do that work at the same time. Okay, and the works are different, so it is not possible for you. So in that case, what happened, you are not going to do anything. So that may result into the undermine of the authority, that will create the uneasiness among you. Okay, and that will ultimately result into the indiscipline. So next one is the delegation. Proper authority should be delegated at the lower level of the organization. Okay, so this is very important, because a person is not a superman. Okay, an individual is not a superhuman. He has certain restrictions, he has certain physical restrictions, he cannot do all the things at the same time. So in that cases, you need to delegate the authority. If in the organization there are thousands of persons working, is it possible for a single manager to look after all the thousand workers? No. So in that case, he is saying that I want to control all the activities, I am responsible for all these things. So basically it is not going to possible. So what you are going to do, we need to delegate the authority, and must be equal to the responsibility. So you have to delegate authority, and that should be equal to the responsibility. What is the responsibility given to that person? The manager should have enough authority to accomplish the task assigned to him. Okay, so manager must have the enough authority. Okay, so that authority should be enough to accomplish whatever the task assigned to him. एखाद्याला आपण जर काम दिलंय आणि त्याला अथॉरिटीज दिली नाहीये की तुला हे काम करून घ्यायचंय, तर इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर हिम दॅट टू असाइन टू just complete the task on time. Okay, so as we have discussed the delegation of authority, definitely when the authority comes, at the same time, what happened, the supervisor held responsible for the act of his subordinates, as we have given him the authority. So as we already discussed, authority and responsibility comes hand in hand. They are the two sides of coin. Okay, if someone has authority, definitely he has the responsibility. So if the supervisor has given certain authority, so whatever the things, he should be responsible for the act of subordinate. त्या मॅनेजरच्या किंवा सुपरवायझरच्या हाताखाली जे काही लोक आहेत, त्यांच्यात काम जे असेल, चुकलं असेल तर रिस्पॉन्सिबल इज सुपरवायझर, बरोबर असेल तर रिस्पॉन्सिबल इज सुपरवायझर. सो सुपरवायझर इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दॅट. नो सुपरवायझर शुड अलाउड टू अवॉइड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बाय डिलिगेटिंग अथॉरिटी टू हिज सबऑर्डिनेट्स. Okay, So in that case, what you are going to do? Each and every supervisor should be responsible. You are not simply allocate the authority. You have to allocate the responsibility also. Authority. Authority is a tool by which the manager is able to accomplish the desired objective. Okay. What is authority? Authority is a tool. It is a weapon. It is a tool which is given to the manager to accomplish the desired objective. Okay. तुम्हाला जे ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह दिलेलं असेल ते अकम्प्लिश करण्याकरता जो टूल दिलेला आहे दॅट इज कॉल्ड एज द अथॉरिटी हेन्स द अथॉरिटी ऑफ इच मॅनेजर मस्ट बी क्लिअरली डिफाईन अँड दॅट्स वाय as it is a tool, so you must have defined the authority for the manager. It should be clearly defined. Authority and responsibility, as we have just discussed, authority and responsibility must coexist in the organization. Okay, they are the two sides of the same coin. Okay, they will always go hand in hand. Authority and responsibility must coexist. They will exist at the same time. Authority जिथं असेल तिथे responsibility यायलाच पाहिजे किंवा responsibility असेल तिथं authority यायलाच पाहिजे. Okay, efficiency. The organization should be able to attain the mission and objective with the minimum cost over here. So instead of using the word minimum over here, we are going to correct it as optimum cost over here. Okay, because minimum is all not. Sometimes if you are going for the minimum cost, then at that time you are going to just say. Your quality is not going to be maintained in that case, so we cannot always go for the minimum cost. You need to maintain the quality, you need to maintain your reputation, all these things. So it should be the optimum cost. Efficiency, the organization must be able to attain mission and objective at the optimum cost. Then simplicity. Okay, the organization structure should be as simple as possible with minimum level of number of level. If the number of level go on increasing, it is quite difficult for you to control. Okay, if the number of level, and it will unnecessarily increases the time. Okay, because my message has to go through one level to another level, one level to another level, and if the my message has passed through the number of level, definitely the chances of distortion of the message will be more. Okay, so it is always better that the organization structure should be as simple as possible with the minimum number of level. The large number of level in the organization means difficult communication and coordination. If the number of level go on increasing, then your coordination and communication will be difficult. ओके, कम्युनिकेशन खूप डिफिकल्ट होईल. म्हणजे सपोज एक मला मेसेज पास करायचा आहे टॉप मॅनेजमेंट टू वर्कर आणि त्याच्यामध्ये 10 लेवल असतील, सो इट मे टेक्स few days to pass from one level to another to third, like this one. But if it is only 2 to 3 levels, definitely time required for passing the message will be reduces. And when the number of level increases, the message get distorted. एक मेसेज सपोज मी एका स्टुडंटला कन्वे केला आणि त्याला सांगितलं की तो मेसेज तुम्हाला 10 जणांना कन्वे करायचे इंडिव्हिज्युअली. तू एक दुसऱ्याला सांग, दुसरा तिसऱ्याला सांगेल, तिसरा चौथ्याला सांगेल. मी रोल नंबर 1 ला एक मेसेज सांगितला आणि त्याला सांगितलं रोल नंबर 35 पर्यंत आहे ना मेसेज कम्युनिकेट करायचे, पण रोल नंबर 1 नी रोल नंबर 2 ला सांगायचं, रोल नंबर 2 नी रोल नंबर 3 ला, रोल नंबर 3 नी रोल नंबर 4 ला. Okay, so it might be possible that whatever the message I have given to roll number 1 and whatever the message received by roll number 35 may be completely different, because each one is adding his own in that message. Okay, so if the number of level go on increasing, so it will creates the problem in the communication. Your message is completely distorted over the period of time. Okay, so then next one is the flexibility. The organization must be flexible, should be adaptable for changing the circumstances. As we already discussed, the industry or the organization has to just work in the continuously changing environment. My business environment is continuously changing. There are socio-economical changes, there are n number of changes which are going to be takes place over there. So basically what is going to be happen over there? Okay, hello, hello, आवाज नाही येते का? एक सेकंड. आत्ताच नाही येते की बरेच वेळ झाले? हॅलो, हॅलो, हॅलो. ओके, now is it audible?
Yes, sir.
किती वेळापासून आवाज येत नव्हता रे?
10 मिनिटं.
10 मिनिटापासनं. Okay, and now is it clearly visible to all of you? Okay.